Alright, so what we're going to do today is an introduction to computer programming. And to find the program that you're going to use today, choose Start All Programs, Visual Studio, Visual Basic 6.0, Visual Basic 6.0. And when it opens, it will look like this. When you get to this screen, just hit Open, and it will look like this. Okay, I'll spend a few seconds here just talking about what's called the interface. And an interface is not a special word. It just means the environment that you're working in, and you've been using Office all along. At the left, we have our toolbar. At the right-hand side, you will see Properties and a Project Explorer. You don't need to worry about the Explorer. We're going to do a very simple program. And this is the window that we code into. So computer science is all about writing programs that you or other people can use. It's a very good career. It takes 3 years of university, and after that you'll start out at about $50,000, and depending on where you live and where you go, you can go up. If you stay in Winnipeg, you'll make around, after 10 years or so, you'll be making about $80,000, $90,000. If you want to leave, you can make a lot more money. But then, of course, your cost of living goes up. So this is the window that we use to create our programs in Visual Basic. And all programs require at least one window, or else there's nothing to code. And if you click your Start button here, the little triangle, just like on a CD player, your program will run, and you see your window here that you can move around. Some features to notice about your window is that at this moment it is resizable. And the caption in the title bar says Form 1. So the first thing you do with every object in your program is that we name it. So over here in your properties with your form selected, double-click the name property. It will highlight Form 1. Double-click the name property and change it to FRM Hello World. And some features to note about what I typed. I know it's hard for you to see. FRM is in lowercase. Hello World is in proper case, which means capital H, capital W. Next, find your caption property and double-click the word caption. Form 1 becomes highlighted, and change it to Hello World. And if you want, you can put a smiley face or whatever you want, and you should notice that your caption in your form title bar has changed to go with it. Run your program again by clicking the triangle or pressing your F5 key, which is your run key. And now we have a little better looking form. It's got a little bit more meaningful title bar. Click the End button to stop it from running. Some of the features that I'm going to introduce to you today will be a command button. If you hover over the controls or tools in your toolbox, find the command button and double click it. Command 1 will appear on your form. Okay, the first thing we do with every object we add to our form is name it. And this is a command button, so its prefix is going to be CMD, which stands for command, all lowercase. And this one is going to be quit. If you run your project again, now we have a button on it. And we can click the button, but nothing happens. And that's because we have not yet put any code into that button. So end your program. And let's add some code to the command button. First of all, command 1 is an ugly name. So single click on your button to choose it. And let's change what property did we use to change what it looked like? The caption. Let's double click caption and let's change it to quit. We can go even better and we can change the font property on our button and go ahead and pick a font that you want. Don't take too long though. And you can choose a size and click OK. Again, if you run your program, we have a button that looks better, but it still doesn't do anything because we haven't written any code for it. Okay, let's write your first line of code. If I run this program, obviously the quit button is going to make it stop. So how would I have that happen as a user? The user is the one who uses your program. What would I do to tell this program to quit? So from what I see here, for me to have this program quit, I'm going to want to click the quit button. So back out here, if you double click the quit button, it brings you into the code that goes with your quit button. You should notice this is the exact same name that you named your button. The code for quitting is very simple. Unload me. Run your program and go ahead and try your button out. Okay, so now I'm in the code editing window. So to get back to my object or the place where I was drawing my controls, you can choose from here. There's a View Object, View Code button, View Object. You can also choose View Code, View Object from the menu. Okay, let's make our button a little bit nicer looking. Choose your button by single clicking and change the back color to some color that you like. And you'll find that nothing happens when you do that. With a button, you also have to go down and change the style property to graphical. Oh, have your button selected. Find your style property and change it to graphical. If your palette window stays open, the best way to get rid of it is to close your project down and reopen it. Okay, so I want everybody to click the disk that represents saving and wait for me. By default, it's going to try to save it on the C drive, and that's not where we want it. So go ahead and find your own folder, as always, and make a new folder called VB, which stands for Visual Basic. And inside of there, you should notice that the file name is the same that you called your form. So in my case, FRM Hello World. Okay, when you're saving a Visual Basic project, there's more than one file. So on this, when you're here and you're in the VB folder, click Save and then Wait. Now it's going to ask you for a project name, and by default it's saying Project 1. Change it to Hello World. And now you've got everything saved properly. If you have this little window here in your way, the best thing to do is simply to shut down Visual Basic, start it up again, and it will be gone. When you start it up again, if you choose Recent, your program should be at the top of the list. Next, we're going to put a message on here. So what I want you to do is find the label object, looks like a letter A, and draw a message box, a label box that goes across your form like this. Like all objects, we need to name our labels, so double-click the name property on your label, and labels begin with LBL for label. Hello, this one's going to be LBL Hello. Go ahead and change your caption and your font to make your hello stand out. You can also change the alignment to center it. Okay, just like on the button, we can also change the colors of our label with your fore color and your back color. So go ahead and experiment with fore color and back color on your label. Run your program, and now we have a label there. Let's add a button to show our label and hide our label. Well, two buttons. So I'm pulling Quit over to the right. I'm going to add another button, and this one is going to be for hide label. Does anybody remember the prefix for a button? So CMD is the prefix. This one's going to be CMD hide. That's good enough. CMD hide. Go ahead and make your button look nice. For those of you with extra time, instead of adding a color to your button, you could add a picture. But don't forget to set the style property to true first. Sorry, style to graphical first. Unfortunately, we're not able to change our button color. It will be black. Okay, to code our hide button, we double click it, and that brings us into the code that goes with that button. And I want to hide my label. Does anybody know another word for hide? Okay, so visible is the property we need to deal with. Now, what is it that we want to hide? If you look here at this drop down, this shows you all of the things you have in your program. Which of these do we want to hide? LBL hello is what we want to hide. So to start with, we type in the name of the thing we want to change. So LBL hello dot. If you don't see the drop-down box that you see on my screen, you have spelled the name wrong. Go back and figure out how to spell it right. If you don't see that box, you already have a mistake. The box pops up when you hit the period key. So go ahead and fix it. After the dot, what you see is all of the properties that go with this object. Type in the letter V for visible, and it brings you right down to the visible property. Press your space bar, and it pops it in for you. So Visual Basic's really good to people who don't know how to type. Equals. And from here, what would we choose? We're hiding it. False. Hit F for false, space bar. Run your program and test your button. Okay, so add a button to make it show up. Name it, make it pretty, and write the code. Your code should look like this. The fun thing about taking computer science at school is that you can actually make your forms kind of fun looking. In the real world, they're not all that much fun. So we can add a picture here. So find your image tool and go ahead and throw an image box on your form. And you can rearrange your form if you want so that it fits better. Okay, once you have your form organized with your image box chosen, you need to name it. And the prefix for an image box is IMG, just like in HTML, IMG. And I don't know what we're going to put in here, so we'll just call it pic. IMG pic. Pic for picture. Go ahead and find your stretch property and set it to true. Find the stretch property and set it to true. After that, go find yourself a picture. Okay, so add code to show and hide your images at the same time that your label shows and hides.